Okay, for today's video, we are going to show off the updated collection. This was a video I kind of planned on just throwing in with the 300 subscriber special, which was my version of Prehistoric Park video. So far, that video is doing really, really well, so I want to thank you all for that. And once again, I want to thank you all so much for getting the channel up to 300 subscribers. It means so much to me, and I talked more about that in that video, so I won't take a ton of time talking about that right here. But pretty much the reason why I'm doing a quick little updated collection video right now is in like the past month, I got a new bookshelf, so it made a lot more space, so I'm able to show off a ton more figures and was able to get more figures and still have a lot of display space. So that's pretty much the whole reason for this video. So yeah, we'll just get right into it, but I didn't want to show off this little tin real quick. I found this while I was looking for something, and this was the tin that came with my Jurassic World like Blu-ray DVD set. So I'm using this as like one of those just little storage things to hold some of my minifigures. And right now, what's in here is the Jurassic World minis figures from the original movie. I'll show off a few of them real quick. So here's the Ankylosaurus. Let's see what else. Here's the Dimorphodon and Pachycephalosaurus. And let's see if we can get a theropod out. Oh, perfect. The Indominus Rex. Okay, so that's what a few of the figures look like in there, but that's what I would put in here. I was going to put my newer series minis in, like the ones that I've done a lot of videos on, but honestly, it's like they barely would have fit in, so if I get any more, they wouldn't have fit in, so I decided to just keep them in their big plastic bag, since these fit in here pretty comfortably. So yeah, now we'll just get right into the actual collection video. So we'll start off with the older shelf, the big red bookshelf, and you'll see why it's pretty different now. Okay, so for the red shelf, now this shelf is exclusively Safari Ltd. I debated like doing like the Carnegie set is one shelf, or like it would technically probably been like 2 or 3, and then the regular Wild Safari line is another shelf. But since I'm kind of more of a classification person, I decided to just like put all my sauropods, whether they were Carnegie collection or regular Safari, together, all my theropods, like that type of stuff. So the top shelf is all my sauropods and stegosaurs / ankylosaurs. I actually don't have any ankylosaurs made by Safari, which is kind of surprising, so I definitely need to get one. And then it's also all my prehistoric reptiles that aren't dinosaurs. So we've got all of our like marine reptiles, pterosaurs, and crocodilians up here. So, and none of my tube figures are on here. I'll show where the tube figures are in a second. But as you can see, we've got all the sauropods and marine reptiles up here, ranging from Diplodocus, Apatosaurus, Amargasaurus, Saltosaurus, Nigersaurus. That's, I think, all the sauropods. I might have forgotten one. And then as far as marine reptiles, we have Elasmosaurus, Mosasaurus, Tylosaurus, Liopleurodon, Ichthyosaurus. And then for the Stegosaurus, we've got Stegosaurus itself and Kentrosaurus. And then for the other non-dinosaurs on the shelf, we've got Deinosuchus, Pteranodon, Quetzalcoatlus, the unnamed pterosaur by Safari, and Tanystropheus. So now we'll move on to the next level, which is half of my theropods. Okay, so this is the shelf of all my non-Coelurosaur theropods, I believe. So we've got like the Carcharodontosaurs, like Giganotosaurus, Carcharodontosaurus, Concavenator, Acrocanthosaurus, Allosaurus, Sinraptor. Then we've got like Spinosaurus, Suchomimus, and then we've got Carnotaurus, Ceratosaurus, Dilophosaurus, and Cryolophosaurus. And now we'll move on to the next theropod shelf, which is all the Coelurosaur theropods. So we've got a bunch of Tyrannosaurus rexes and the Nanotyrannus, which is really juvenile rex based off how it's portrayed in Dino Dana. And then we have the Chiansusaurus, the Albertosaurs, the Guanlong, the Gorgosaurus, the Utyrannus. And then we move on to our non-Tyrannosaurus Coelurosaurs, Velociraptor, Dinochirus, Deinonychus, Utahraptor, Cytipati, Oviraptor, and I think that's it for that shelf. So now we'll move on to the next level, which is the Hadrosaurs and Ceratopsians. So we'll start with the Hadrosaurs and then make our way to the Ceratopsians. So we've got Iguanodon, Corythosaurus, Hippacrosaurus, Parasaurolophus, Gryposaurus, Edmontosaurus, Maiasaura, and then we've got a bunch of Pachycephalosaurs. I've got a ton of that figure. And then we've got the Psittacosaurus, Oh, and then we've got Dracorex here with the Pachycephalosaurs, you know, kind of similar to the Nanotyrannus situation, if you know. Then we've got Styracosaurus, Pachyrhinosaurus, Aeneosaurus, Bogoceratops, Torosaurus, Triceratops, and Protoceratops. So now we'll move on to the bottom shelf, which is all the non-reptile figures. One of these is technically a dinosaur, but I put it here because it survived after the non-avian dinosaurs because it's an avian dinosaur. And here we have it. So we've got all my mammal figures plus all of my prehistoric fish, and then my Gastornis figure, which, you know, technically is a Coelurosaur dinosaur, so I could have easily put it like with like the Oviraptorids and stuff and the Velociraptor and stuff, just because it technically is a Coelurosaur. But since it lived after the non-avian dinosaurs went extinct, I decided to just put it here with the other prehistoric mammals and stuff that lived at a more similar time to it. So we've got, obviously there we've got I literally just said the name, but I'm blanking on the name now. The Gastornis, yeah, the Gastornis, and then we've got some of the Australopithecus back there. Then we've got the Dunkleosteus up here. Then we've got the Didicurus, and I believe the Glyptodon, the giant ground sloth, the Megaloceros, the Andrewsarchus pair, Ambelodon, Arsinotherium, the mammoths, the Dimetrodon, because, you know, Dimetrodon's technically more closely related to mammals than it would be like dinosaurs. Then we've got the Smilodons, or saber-toothed cats, and then the Megalodon. So that is it for the Safari Ltd based red shelf. This shelf is the biggest shelf I have, and it's the majority of my figures, so you can tell I'm a big, huge Safari Ltd fan, so that's why this shelf is absolutely covered in Safari Ltd figures. So yeah, now we'll show off some of the stuff beside it that's not figure-wise, or not on the shelf that's Safari Ltd. So we've got some other Safari Ltd figures up here that aren't on the shelf. This is the Dinosuchus I have. This is the worst condition one I own, so just the amount of space these take up, I decided to put it here. Then this Pachycephalosaurus, there's literally 4 of it on the shelf, so that's why this one's not up there. This Albertosaurus has some standing issues, and once again, there's a lot of figures on that spot on the shelf, so there just wasn't enough space for it. This Velociraptor, kind of same deal. Same deal with this T-Rex too. Then we've got this Great Dinosaurs T-Rex. Just don't love it by Safari. It's almost not even like a Safari figure with the material it's made from. And it would be such a space eater that there was no reason to put it up there for what I wanted. And then we've got this Safari Ltd largemouth bass, which I really could just put on that bottom shelf, but, you know, it's not an extinct animal, but I'll probably end up moving to some non-extinct animals at some point, so it'll be fine then. Then we've got like my random shelf stuff, so that's got like all my Safari Ltd tags and stuff, as well as like just like that Schleich box. It's just a bunch of random stuff, and like some like Jurassic Park-esque cars from Animal Planet Micro Kingdom. And then we have all these Safari Ltd tube figures, and then we've got just some random figures. These are some my Jurassic World minis, some Jurassic Park figures, just some regular animal figures as well. And then you all have already seen what's in here. This is some of my worst Geo World figures, and then in here is my Walking with Dinosaurs movie figures, and then there's the Apex Theropod deck building game, which I haven't played yet, but the artwork for it has always looked so cool to me, so I definitely wouldn't care to play that on the channel. I'd actually plan on playing that on the channel at some point, but just haven't ever got around to it yet, but we could definitely maybe do that in the future. So now we'll move on to the next section of the collection. Okay, so for the next section, we have the Schleich and Papo. These are 2 brands that I find very similar. Just, you know, they're 2 of the bigger name brands, but just usually aren't the most accurate. So I kind of lump them together usually. I think the last time I did this video, it was the Papo and Jurassic Park figures, because Papo is very similar to Jurassic Park as well, but Papo's always kind of reminded me of Schleich as well, so definitely like having them together as well. So we've got just all my Papo and Schleich figures here, except, oh, I forgot, actually on the shelf with the Safari Ltd figures, I actually have 2 Papo and Schleich figures. The Megaloceros is actually made by Papo, and the figure that I've been calling Glyptodon is actually made by Schleich as well. But, you know, I just didn't think it made a ton of sense to have prehistoric mammals on this shelf with only 2 compared to a full shelf of prehistoric mammals. So, yeah, that Safari shelf technically has 2 non-Safari figures on it. So, we'll just get right into this shelf now. So we've got a Brachiosaurus, and some Apatosaurus. Technically, there's another Brachiosaurus right there, even though it looks a little funny. Then we've got Stegosaurus, Ankylosaurus, Sicania, Stegosaurus, Pachycephalosaurus, Triceratops, Pachyrhinosaurus, a little Quetzalcoatlus. There's another one over here on the shelf. Then we've got Therizinosaurus, Pentaceratops. I can't remember if I said Triceratops and Pachyrhinosaurus, but there if I didn't. Then Pentaceratops, another one. Some Velociraptors, even though since they're Jurassic Park based, they're not really big Velociraptors. Then an Allosaurus, a couple Allosaurs, a Dilophosaurus, a Giganotosaurus, and then there's some T-Rexes, if I didn't mention them already, Majungasaurus, Carnotaurus, either Ichthyosaurus or Ophthalmosaurus, Mosasaurus, a Plesiosaur, possibly Elasmosaurus. I'm not for sure exactly what that one was marketed as. Some Spinosaurs. I love this Power Limited Edition Spinosaurus. Definitely I'm going to try to review that at some point on the channel. A Baryonyx. The older Papospinosaurus, which is very, very Jurassic Park based. That other Quetzalcoatlus. And then we've got this one, I believe, Angora or Ornithochirus figure made by Schleich. So that's it for the Papo and Schleich section. Even though Papo and Schleich aren't my favorite brands, I still do really like Papo and Schleich. Okay, and now we have the new shelf. This is a shelf that I'm really glad I got. I got it at Walmart. I'll put a link to it if it's still available online. And it's a really nice shelf. It was pretty cheap, actually. I think it was under $30. And this is actually right beside my recording location. So here's this desk, and then right here is my table that I record on. So it's in a nice little spot. You know, I can just look over, and if I am doing a video and there's a specific figure I want to grab really quick because I forgot to grab it, I can, you know, just reach over really quick and grab the figure. So yeah, we'll just get into it. We'll go from the top to the bottom. So on the top we have my Jurassic Park shelf. So we've got some of my Hammond collection figures and some of my older figures. We've got a JPG, some Tyrannosaurs, that Dimetrodon, some Velociraptors. Really love these two Velociraptors. Really love the little Velociraptor display I have going right now. The Giganotosaurus, some Dilophosaurs, that Allosaurus, which has become really, really expensive, I believe. Especially since I still have the, if y'all can see it, the skin piece, which gets lost very easily, I've heard. Kind of similar with this Pachyrhinosaurus as well. And then the Pachycephalosaurs I have, and then the Concavinator. Definitely am going to be getting some more Hammond collection very soon. Sort of already have it, which I'll explain here in just a second. Then we have the PNSO Beast of the Mesozoic shelf. Originally, this shelf was flipped around, so originally the PNSO figures were on this side, and the Beast of the Mesozoic figures were more on this side. But unfortunately, my Carcharodontosaurus fell over, so I guess it's kind of warping. So I've had to rearrange the shelf, so now the figure is like kind of standing up on the side of the wall. But it's fine. I mean, I still really like the display. You know, we've got our Allosauroids beside each other, and then the Allosaurus beside a Stegosaur, and then the Ankylosaurs, and the Tarbosaurs. So the Tyrannosaurs are really close to each other. And then we kind of have a mini little Hell Creek formation of the Ankylosaurus, the Triceratops, and the T-Rex. Then we've got my other Beast of Mesozoic figures in the Zuni and the Velociraptor Osmoscape. And then we have the pretty much every non-safari-like Papo Beast of the Mesozoic collect a more accurate based figures. So we've got, they're pretty much not like based on brand here. They're really just classification, but between the brands on this shelf. So we've got Terrababitat, Collecte, and Geo World Jurassic Hunters. Even though I know Geo World Jurassic Hunters might not be the most accurate figures really, but they fall more in this line compared to something like Jurassic Park-esque figures. So we'll start on the herbivore side. So we've got like an Amargasaurus by Terra, the Diplodocus made by Collecte, the Dawsonturus made by Terrababitat, the Collecte Styracosaurus, the Chasmosaurus by Terrababitat. Oh, and then we've got the Dinosaur King figures as well here. The Dinosaur King Maiasaura, the Terrababitat Pachyrhinosaurus, Terrababitat T-Rex, Terrababitat Nanchiungasaurus, I believe. Then we've got this Puruta Pachycephalosaurus, which I think might be technically like a line by Kyoto, but I'm not for sure about that. And then we've got some Terrababitat Theropods in that T-Rex and Carcharodontosaurus. And we've got the Dinosaur King Daspletosaurus and the Dinosaur King Carcharodontosaurus. Then we've got the Collecte Concavinator, the Terrababitat Acrocanthosaurus, the Collecte Mosasaurus, one of my favorite figures. Definitely probably going to review that figure really soon. The Terrababitat Cryolophosaurus, the Geo World Jurassic Hunters Cryolophosaurus, then a pair of Pterobibitat figures, the Ceratosaurus and Carnotaurus, and then the Pterobibitat, or not the Geo World Jurassic Country's Mega Raptor. So I really like the shelf. It's a nice mix of little random stuff, but I think it looks really good. And then we've got my weirder figure shelf. So this is my Jurassic World Brawlosaurs, which I recently did a video on, and the Extractors figures. So this shelf is a little open, so I've sort of got something planned that I'm gonna put on this shelf as well. I literally see a spider right there. I'm gonna unfortunately have to evict him from there. I can't believe that's already on there because I literally just put those figures up just a little bit ago. So I guess that spider has made its web very fast. But this shelf is a little open for my liking right now, so I'm definitely going to put some more stuff on here soon. But obviously, since these two figures aren't like accuracy, like even to a movie, they're a little on the weirder side. So I don't like having like more accurate style figures on this shelf. So, but I do have something planned that I think will take up most of the remaining space. So definitely think that will look cool. But yeah, so I think that's it for the collection video. Once again, I want to thank you all so much for watching. I do have a lot of really cool stuff planned. I've got like over 4 boxes worth of figures of videos that are going to come up really soon. Some of the stuff that I can for sure say will be coming up in the next week or so, or probably 2 weeks, is going to be some Carnegie stuff, some just regular Safari LTD stuff, a Collecte figure for sure, a couple of actually Jurassic World Hammond Collection figures, and more. There's a lot of stuff coming, so just stay tuned for that, and hope you all enjoyed this video, and I am out.